now going to dive into the ocean and talk tidal. For that, I'd like to ask Alejandro, Marques, Fabienne, Joly, Blaxland, Richard, Arnold, and Maarten Berkhout to join me on stage, please. Hello, how are you? Nice to see you. Good afternoon. Hola. Hello. How are you? Richard, you need a microphone, I think. Can we get another microphone? Yeah, for sure. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for being with us. Richard, let's start. Can you hear me? Yeah. So you're Policy Director at Industry Group UK Marine Energy Council. The UK is obviously, as we all know, the leader in the tidal market right now with about 10 megawatts of capacity installed. And it is aiming for the stars, isn't it?
Yeah, so as many of you may know, we've had 2 ring fences for tidal stream in successive renewable auctions, which has put us on track to have an extra 90 megawatts in our seas by 2028. We also got another ring fence this summer. Unfortunately, that is only 10 million, which we think will deliver around extra 13 megawatts, but we're doing a lot of engagement to try and increase the size of that ring fence and really build on the momentum that's been created the last couple of renewable auctions.
Right. So France, I understand France is not the only country that is in the midst of political turmoil, right? You've got a general election coming up. Is that going to help?
Yeah, I mean, I think France really stole our thunder. You know, there was a focus on the UK, then Macron obviously active.
Yeah, France is going to be the new UK, I think.
Yeah. So we're 8 days out from the UK general election. At the moment, it's looking like Labour are going to have a pretty significant majority, and that should be good news for us as a sector. For a long time, we had, political convergence in the UK on the need to get to net zero. There's a risk that that may start to fracture post-general election. We've seen the Conservatives move slightly against it, but what's incoming is a party that has really bold and ambitious platform and has sort of demonstrated in the past support for tidal stream and wave energy.
So big ambitions when it comes to tidal. Is this an opportunity, do you think, for the UK not to repeat the mistakes of the past when it comes to offshore wind energy, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of our key arguments to the government. If you look at the success that Denmark has had with its offshore wind industry, with billions to its economy, it should be instructive to the UK, previous and future governments, not to repeat that same mistake. And one of the really fantastic things about tidal stream in these projects is that we're getting upwards of 80% UK supply chain content spend in them. And so there's a really strong economic play for the UK, and we're already seeing, companies like Nova Innovation export their turbines across the world.
Are there any specific hurdles on the way to tidal heaven in the UK?
Yeah, there are quite a few. We're very busy as an organisation trying to address these. Look at some of the barriers that we have, some of them very common to everyone in this room around grid connection. The leasing and consenting timelines are too long. And while we expect to get an extra 13 megawatts in this year's renewable auction, we are quickly running out of eligible capacity that can go into these auctions in the future. So we need to have a significant effort and focus on increasing that eligible capacity amount.
All right, well, thank you so much, Richard, Arnold, for this UK point of view. The UK market is one of those you have your foot in, Blaxland.
It certainly is.
Yes. You're the CEO of technology provider and developer Proteus Marine Renewables.
Yep.
And
Proteus
yes,
in short.
correct. And your 2 main projects in Europe are in France and Scotland. In a nutshell, can you talk us through?
Yeah, sure. We've been involved in the Scottish project for Maygen since 2012 when it started. And we've now got a long-term service agreement for the 4 turbines that are there. That's 6 of the 10 megawatts that Richard was talking about. And we provide ongoing services for the recovery of those turbines, the maintenance, all that sort of stuff, which helps us then leverage off that knowledge and experience for other projects in the world. You can see on the next slide when it finally comes up, we've been around a while, 20 years, and played with all sorts of turbines over those years.
I'm going to go to that.
All the way from CGen, Seaflow, which is basically like orbital but standing up, river turbines, all the rest. The nice thing is from that experience, we've now got what we like to think is a commercial product. It's taken a long time to get there, and that's helping us then shop that around to the various projects in the world and have some consistency and commonality. I think the other part about it is that distinguishes Proteus a little bit more from, say, some of the other really cool developers that are coming through, is we're actually applying oil and gas logic to this now. Make sure the product works perfectly before it goes in the water. Spend time like the picture you see there is a yaw drive. That's a 22-ton unit. It needs to go underwater and stay there for minimum 6 years without breaking down. It's no good making one and then crossing your fingers and hoping it goes underwater and doesn't break. Yeah. So we've spent a lot of money in the last 5 years in particular on product development and what I'd call commercialisation. So that's been used in the Scottish project, but it's also very importantly going into our French project. The French project, you can see the mock-up there, and the turbine again hasn't really changed now for the last 7 years, but there's innovation within that. Cheaper foundation, bigger rotors, 3 megawatts now instead of 1.5 megawatts. And less cables to shore, which is all things that people want to see that bring the cost down. And we've also got a project in Japan, which is great. And going back to Richard's point on export, that's all Scottish built that was exported to Japan, able to be then deployed in another part of the world. And Japan will have its first grid-connected 1 megawatt turbine this year.
Right. What about if you take the market point of view, to what extent do you feel that these markets are working really differently?
Yeah, I mean, all the markets around the world are at different stages. That's the simplicity of it. The British are the most mature, particularly when it comes to feed-in tariff. But the French are catching up, which is great, which is what I love about our Normandy Hydrolien project. And the Japanese and Asia is the next stage behind. They tend to follow, and they tend to be a bit more cautious. The regulatory environment within each of those is very different.
Right. Do you feel that, talking about regulations, that there's done enough actually here in Europe or in Asia? Or what specific measures would you ask for?
In terms of regulation? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes a little bit back to Richard's point. The long tail in the journey is consents and the leasing and the CFD rounds, getting the tariffs in place. That takes time. Actually building the turbines, once you get to volume, we can assemble a turbine in 6 weeks. That's pretty quick. From the regulatory perspective, the infrastructure around mobilising the right resources to get the time down on those front-end things is key to the industry.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Drew. Alejandro, Marques, you've got a microphone. Can you hand over the remote control? Hello, hola.
Hola.
You're CEO of Spain-based Magallanes Renovables. And your technology combines a platform with underwater blades. You brought this picture. Could you explain your technology first?
Yeah, so basically, I'll begin with the philosophy, which is basically unlocking a new resource of renewable energy, as we all are. But of course, this needs to be done in a way so that it really expands as a market. And that the only way is to have economic viability. And our approach towards this economic viability is, first of all, to build a device that can be maintained. This way we can access and guarantee that the lifetime of the platform with maintenance can be for 25, 30 years. but also to leverage on existing technologies. And this is the naval sector and the windmill industry. And basically, we have combined these two industries by installing, as you said, a rotor or two rotors, a windmill, below a platform. And the way it works is the simplest we could have thought of, which is basically to have a platform that is moored to the seabed, and as the current passes by, moves the turbines and generates energy. All that energy is taken to the shore through a submarine cable, and we have access through the whole inside of the device to do maintenance at any moment, any point in time, as you would with a windmill, which is basically a machine that needs maintenance.
Right, and I understand your technology is working. You've been testing it at EMIC, right? Where is it at now?
That's it. So it's been at EMIC for the past 5 years. So we built it in Galicia, in Vigo. It was assembled in the port, so we basically use standard suppliers from the windmill and naval industry. It was assembled in 2 or 3 weeks in the port because it's built in blocks. This means we can build it almost anywhere in the world and then launch it with cranes in a slipway, a shipyard, or almost any offshore, any port facility. And then we took it to the EMEC in Scotland, where it has been testing and gone on improvements for the past 5 years. And that's been key, because during these 5 years we've managed to gather a lot of information of how the machine works, how it can be improved, and all these improvements have been gathered and set into the engineering of a commercial device, which is the Tier 2.0, which is basically the same device, same power output, so we didn't want to change the capacity. It's just the same thing, but improved for commercialization. And this is key. The key is to do very small changes, small steps, to guarantee that everything that you've done still works. And of course, this path towards commercialization comes through the certification, which is key. And this platform will be installed in Scotland and in EMEC, in Morlays, in Wales. These are 2 projects that we have with the CFD that Richard mentioned before. In both rounds, the round in 2022 and in 2023. And these projects are set to be operational in 2026, 2027.
Right. But I understand you're also eyeing the French market, hence your presence here at Seanergy.
Yes, of course. So that's a natural evolution. France is the only market in the European Union that is really pushing towards tidal energy, and it's a real push. So it's natural that we're here. We're looking for partners. We're looking for help to land in the French market, and we hope that we can do it in the next few years.
And you're here till tomorrow night, I suppose.
Yes, I'm here tomorrow also, of course.
Anybody wants to talk to him about that? What other markets are you looking at apart from that?
Yeah, so every day new countries are waking up and seeing that tidal energy is a real solution for achieving net zero. It's not correlated to wind and solar, and it's predictable. So the more renewable energies that we have and we get into the grid, the better it is, and the more healthy it is, the renewable energy system. So in Asia, it's Japan, Indonesia, the Philippines, the US, Canada, in America, same as Chile. So there are many countries around the world waking up, and especially those that have a really good resource are making a strong bet for this new renewable energy source.
Right, almost endless potential there. Thank you very much, Alejandro. So, Maarten Berkhout, thank you for joining us. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello. You are with the Dutch company SeaQurrent, and your company has developed a technology that looks like a kite and works like a kite in the water, right?
Indeed. It's an underwater kite. Here you see an image of our system. So we develop an underwater kite to really complement the existing technologies. We see the turbines working really well, requiring very high velocities. In the Netherlands, where we're from, we've got lower velocities and we've got really shallow waters. So that's where you need to do a different trick, basically, to cover a larger area perpendicular to the flow. And we see that's key. Also with wind turbines, they get bigger and bigger and bigger to cover a larger area. If the water is 20 meters deep and the flow is very low, this doesn't work. So then we take our kite and we sweep from left to right, maybe 100 meters perpendicular to the flow. And in that way, we can access more energy with this device. Oh, I see I got the full presentation ready for you. So the kite sweeping from left to right with 10 wings, as you can see. All these wings create a lift force when they accelerate through the water, very much like the wings of an airplane that lift the plane off the ground. This kite starts pulling as it's tethered, and the traction force is converted into electricity by our power takeoff system installed on the mooring. So that's what we do.
Okay. You've been testing, you've been running test runs, yeah? With a half-scale model, right?
Yes, we're actively on the water at the moment. You saw the kite on the first page. That's currently in the water. It has 6 wings. Our demonstrator units we make with 6 wings, and then we expand them once we've got them fully under control. So that's currently being tested near Ameland, one of the Dutch islands north of the Netherlands, in a very nice area, UNESCO World Heritage. So we're very grateful to also have obtained the permits there, which is also a testament to the ecological ability to, or the ecological friendliness of tidal devices.
And how do you have any results yet, or not yet?
Well, not yet. I would say we talk about testing quite a lot, but we start with tuning. As you can imagine, the kite is a bit of a dangerous animal because it can go everywhere. So we learn its tricks step by step. So we're first going, let's say, to 5 meters below the water surface and then back up and really analyze, did everything go exactly according to plan? If not, then we need to adapt something in our control system. So this is a bit of a challenge in the beginning. So we're tuning, that's taking quite some time, and then we go to testing. And once we've got this under control, then it has various advantages because, for instance, where ebb flows and flood flows, so in 2 directions, you ideally want to operate at a different depth because the water velocity is better at a different depth. No problem, we can do it. So we're going to bank on that later, and next to covering a larger area, we're able to access the optimal flow conditions with this device.
Right. You just told us about the half-scale model, but there's another one coming up, right? A 500 kilowatt machine, is that right?
Yeah, so a 500 kilowatt machine is what we aim for as the next version. So that will have the complete number of wings. And there will be a commercial system for the areas that I depicted in the north of the Netherlands with flow speeds of well below 2 meters per second.
So you explained your technology, it's quite specific. How does it fit in with other technologies in the market? What's your niche, so to say?
So the niche we aim for is really the lower velocity sites, also in shallow waters. And I think that's, yeah, like I said, that's how we best complement existing technology. So we're a bit later, we don't have the same track record. Our track record, oh, I'll go back. This is our track record, so we are also almost 10. We're 10 years in the game now. So we've had 1 unit in the laboratory and 2 scale models, and now a sort of half-scale model, all tested in the Netherlands. And yeah, that's how we complement, because we see also that we basically expand the ability to deploy tidal drastically by focusing on these sites, and that will help us, that will help the market, that will help countries in decarbonizing the energy system and delivering reliable energy every day. So when you look to France, for instance, there's a lot of focus on the Roche Blanchard. Drew can tell you all about that, but we also look at other sites. For instance, near Boulogne-sur-Mer and some of the other areas. We have to continue discussions about the just published report in Brittany. But those areas are also exploitable. And that's also what why we're here, to see how can we focus on those areas and get more tidal energy to the market.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Maarten Berkhout. Last but not least, Fabienne, Joly, we're going to cross the big pond again with you. You're Director of Development for Canada at Maine-based Ocean Renewable Power Company, ORPC. Thank you so much for joining us in your morning.
Thank you.
And you also brought a picture of your machine, I understand, right?
Yeah. So
there we go.
it would appear. So thanks for having me from Canada. So I representing ORPC, but my colleague Brandon, just thanking me in picture, is our Director of Development for Europe. So ORPC, we are a US company headquartered in Maine, in Portland, Maine. So we have an office in Ireland. I'm based in Canada. We have a team in Alaska too. So expanding our business. Okay, I need to start it again.
It's the red one, the red button to go back.
Okay. Just a few pictures running behind to showcase our...
I think this is the next panel. If you could push the red button.
Okay.
Again, there you
okay.
go. There we go.
It was a presentation for the next speaker, probably.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So most of your projects so far are in rivers, I understand, right? But you're planning to go to sea.
More exactly, ORPC was, I could say, a pioneer in tidal, because already more than 10 years ago we deployed our first, what we call the tide gen. I'm not familiar with this. A kind of this turbine in Eastport, Maine, so the American side of the Bay of Fundy, in fact, just on the other side of the border. And you're right that our more active and longest project is in a river with this turbine, the ReefGen. And this picture is from the Igiagig village. It's a small remote community in Alaska. And so on this picture you can see two ReefGen. Our systems are operating underwater, so it's very suitable and relevant for northern climate when during winter the river can freeze over. And so you see the first ReefGen already in operation for 5 years now. And this picture is from last year when we deployed the second ReefGen. So this project is really the longest river turbine in operation in Americas. So it allows us to really build experiences. You want me to? Okay, sorry. So it allows us to build experiences in operation, but also maintenance and project development with the community. We did a lot of community engagement. And so building on this project right now, we also get some funds, public funds from the Alaskan government to assess the potential in more than 50 communities in Alaska. So very active in Alaska. We've deployed a turbine in Canada a bit more than a year ago in a test site named the Canadian Hydrokinetic Turbine Test Center with the University of Manitoba. And on the tidal site, with this, as I said, building on this experience, just earlier this year, the Department of Energy granted ORPC with a $3.5 million grants to manage a project named ATEP, American Tidal Energy Project, to identify, assess the potential and identify the best technology to harness 150 megawatts of tidal energy that have been identified as a great great potential in Alaska, and really to also go to the step to be ready to provide energy for local economic development, so to use case like hydrogen production, electrochemical production, electrification of port operations. And in this case, we will technology of ORPC is included in this study and this project, but also some other technology, and we really play a role as a project developer. So ORPC, it's developing turbine, but also providing project development services. That really makes sense for us.
So the way the Canadian but also the US government are providing support is really specific, right? What else is specific about these two markets, Canada and the US, when it comes to tidal?
Yeah, so if I come to tidal, but what I want to mention that the experience we build in Canada and in US around existing market in remote communities really allow us to develop this knowledge, and so to go on tidal market and tidal energy with all these backgrounds. That's really what made sense, and that's what we see in different discussions we had today. Because in Canada, in Alaska, this specific remote energy, remote communities market, there's already a business case over there because it's to displace diesel. So our technology are already suitable in terms technology-wise, but also financially wise. So we started with that, and right now we also going through a project what we can call behind the meter with big players like Shell, for example, in the Mississippi River. We partner with them to study also the scalability of our product for EV charging use case, for example. And so yeah, we're. I don't touch anything to build on site. So it's still on the river, but my point is ORPC is bringing all this knowledge on tidal energy. And in Europe, right now, our team is involved in a significant project like Crimson, supported by Horizon 2020 funds. And Brandon will present a poster just right now on that project. So we develop a bigger turbine to address this market. What I can mention, comparing to answer your question, in fact, to comparing the different market, that's in US, the US government is really, I would say, leading the game in terms of public funds. It's more than, if I take my numbers, sorry, more than $120 million that was invested last year just for the year 2023 in marine energy at large. So it's really a significant push. And if I just do a push on what Rémi Gruet said earlier today, it really makes sense to have public funds to leverage the private investment too. So what I see in Europe is it's also very active. In Canada, it's the market and the government, I would say, is not that mature in supporting marine energy, but it will come, and we push on that too. So this big support of US government is really significant to develop tidal energy in Alaska and also in the East Coast.
As we're on a little tour around the world with this panel, I know that you've got some projects in Latin America. Yep. Can you tell us a bit more about these markets? It's still quite early days there, right? how do they work?
Yeah,
the
it's
markets
early
there?
days, but there's already quite a lot of studies in terms of assessing the potentials that have been done. Yeah, we are active in Chile. We are a region, one of our systems that is under deployment, in fact, in Chile. To address the same kind of market, I would say that in Alaska and northern Canada, more remote community, end of line, to provide a reliable base load. In Brasilia, in Ecuador, they are also facing a major energy crisis, and there's a tremendous potential with large rivers and tidal also along the ocean. So that's very active market, and we are more in exploration over there. Same in Africa to market to expand, definitely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for your insight. Thank you, everybody, for taking part. And thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm.